Kanye's early albums like College Dropout and Late Registration made the chipmunk soul sound iconic. So today I'm gonna dive in and teach you how you can chop soul samples like Kanye West. The first thing we need to do is look for a sample. And you could do this a couple different ways. You can go on YouTube and search up soul sample playlists, or if you can find high quality soul loops, you can use those too. My up and coming Elements of Soul kit has a ton of crazy original soul samples, so I'm gonna go through and play with some of those. As I'm going through these, I'm looking for samples that have 2 to 3 main chords because in my personal experience, I found it a lot easier to chop a sample when it's got one chord playing for an extended amount of time because it makes it a lot easier to have a cohesive and catchy sample chop. Oh, I think I hear something with that one. So what I'm going to do from here is drag this into Logic. Now, once I've got it in Logic, I'm going to take the audio file and then drag it onto a sampler track, and you're going to choose Quick Sampler Optimized. And as you can see, this automatically chops up your sample. But if you look closely, it's got way too many chops and it's going to be way too hard to actually make something usable out of this. So what I do is I change the mode to beat divisions, and then I'll put the division to 2. And what this does is it essentially slices it every 2 beats or half bar. Now that we've got that, to get that chipmunk sound effect, we've definitely got to pitch this sample up. So I'm going to go right here in the pitch section and pitch this up 2 semitones. But when you pitch it up, it's also going to speed it up, so you're going to have to keep in mind that the tempo is going to increase from whatever your sample was originally at. Now the last thing that we want to do before we get into chopping is change this mode right here to monophonic. And what this does is it makes it so you can only play one chop at a time, so they're not going to bleed over each other. Now as you can see, we automatically have all the chops loaded up in the MIDI. And as you can tell, that's already sounding crazy. But since we pitched it up in the sampler, it's going to speed up the sample, so we need to adjust the BPM. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is kind of find the chords that I want to chop up. So I know I want to chop up the first chord with the big choir hit. And I hear it right there. So from there, I'm just going to kind of play around on the keyboard and see what other cool chops I can find. Oh, I like that vocal right there. Let's see what this sounds like. That's kind of hard. I'm gonna record that in. Now I'm just going to quantize it so it plays where I wanted it to. So this is sounding pretty cool, but it's kind of repetitive. And one thing Kanye does to make his sample chops less repetitive is he might have the same thing playing 3 times in a row like I have right here, but on the 4th time around, he adds some kind of variation that helps transition the loop. So now we got this for our main chop. Now Kanye normally doesn't just have one chop looping throughout the whole entire song. So we're going to need to chop up some more sections of the sample to create an intro, verse, and a hook. But before that, it helps me come up with unique chops sometimes when I record over a drum break. So I'm going to go into the up and coming Elements of Soul kit and grab this drum break right here. And if you want to try out some drums, live instrument phrases, and soul samples for free, click the link in the description to get the free version of the Elements of Soul kit. So our first chop and the drum break together sound like this. Typically, for either the verse or the hook, I want the sample to have no vocals in it because it leaves a lot more space for the rapper's vocals to shine. So I'm going to try to find some sections that don't have any vocals in it and see what I can come up with. Yeah, that's sounding crazy. I'm just going to quantize that. This is how the first section transitions into the second. So as you can tell, that second section has a lot more room for someone to rap on. But I want to make another section for the intro. And for this one, I think I'm just going to let the sample ride, but I'm going to play it chopped to give it more of a sampled MPC kind of feel. So now I'm pretty satisfied with these chops, so what I'm gonna do is bounce this into place. And then to take that Kanye sound one step further, I'm gonna go over here to the transpose, pitch it up 2 more semitones. And this is what our finished chop sounds like. If you want the sounds that I used in this beat, make sure to check out that free Elements of Soul kit. If you want to learn how I make these soul samples 100% from scratch, click this video right here.